something that was referred to as he led the entire field in strokes gained by approach shots. And that's the best that he's performed in that area since at least 2003. So what, translate that for us guys that only tune in when Tiger has the red shirt on Sunday. What is that entire field in strokes gained by approach shots?
Basically just, your shot into the green, referencing how close he's getting it to the pin, which creates fewer putts. So his approach shots last week were more like what we used to seeing is, 10 feet in. So he's gaining more strokes through his approach, his second shot into a green, or his third shot at par 5, rather than, which lowers your percentage of up and down. So he's not struggling to hit greens and then having to get up and down for par. So his approach shots are just much closer now, so he's making more putts and more birdies, and he's gaining more strokes on the field that way.
Okay, so he took home the championship at St. Andrews in 2000 and 2005. Any chance that the old Tiger could be roaming, that he could have a presence on the leaderboard throughout the entirety of the British Open?
Absolutely. Golf is a sport to where it literally takes, one day for things to just kind of turn around and click. And in Tiger's situation, he's way too talented. He knows way too much about the game for him to just have checked out for the rest of his career. Personally, I think it's all a mental thing with him right now. He just needs to get that mental toughness back, and slowly but surely things are starting to align again. His swing has always been good, always. Even, last year it was good, and 14 months ago he won, I think it was five or six tournaments in 2014. But
yeah, a lot of people didn't give him as much credit as I thought he deserved. A lot of other players on the tour would be, that'd be a career year for them.
Oh, it's only, I think the record is held by Sam Snead, and I think or Vijay Singh, and it's maybe 15 wins in a year or 12, but 7 wins in a year is monumental for any PGA Tour pro. A couple of guys that I spoke to actually who are on the tour have said, I can only dream of winning 7 times in a career, let alone in 1 year. However, in any sport, your superstar has these expectations that are sometimes just really unattainable. And he didn't win a major, so everyone looked at it in a negative way. But, I definitely think when his problems started and he started to go downhill, 2010, I think it was, 2011, that was a big step. And in golf, like I said, all it takes is one round to kind of get the things turned around and the switch to flip. And I think it was 2002, the British Open, where Ben Curtis won the British Open, and his Vegas odds were something to the point where no one ever thought he would come close to winning. Uh-huh. And it just goes to show golf is that way where anyone can win at any time. Is it your weekend? Is it that time for your game to click? And for Tiger, once it clicks, it's going to be there. And I think until he's ready to walk away from competitive golf. So, right. I think he'll be in contention this weekend. Not sure if he's going to win it or not, but anytime he tees it up, and until he's either missed the cut or he's out of contention, he's always in the mix because it can happen at any time.
Right. I think we talked earlier, and I think we both had the same opinion that the one thing that's kind of compounding what's going on with him right now is so many of these younger guys that he kind of influenced or, encouraged. Some of these guys are modeling their games after him. It's like he's playing against a bunch of his sons, in terms of their approaches to the game and then they have that youth on their side too. So I think that's just one thing that's kind of adding to his struggles is that his success and everything that he did for golf has kind of spawned, all of these guys that are kind of not like the guys that Tiger came in the league against.
Right. It's definitely changed to a younger, I guess, crowd, and the players are younger. And I should say that the better players are younger, whereas
right.
It used to be the better players were a lot of the older guys. And those guys are still relevant, the Phil Mickelsons, the Padraig Harringtons, Sergio Garcias. So they're still relevant and a big part of the game, but it's almost as to your point, like Tiger's sons, where now it's this next generation that's coming up with some attitude, some swag. I use that term a lot with my guys when I'm coaching them, because golf is so mental. You just have to know that you have it, and you have to believe in yourself. And these guys come up with that chip on their shoulders, that aggressive style of play.
Right.
That's exciting to watch, and they got it all from Tiger Woods.
Exactly. So I knew a little bit of something, I guess. So that's so right. So you mentioned you probably are leaning towards Spieth to probably be atop the leaderboard going into that final day. Anybody else you'll be keeping an eye on? Lefty?
Yeah.
Any chance lefties up there?
I don't know. I don't know what Phil is. He's very hit and miss. I know the lone event he's still looking for is that U.S. Open title. Phil's game, I think, is strong enough to get up there and make a charge. But the guys I'm looking at a lot is going to be at Dustin Johnson. I think the chips are going to fall in his direction one of these times in a major. He's just too talented.
He was top 5 or something in Augusta, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Top 5 at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, and he kind of he lost the U.S. Open kind of for himself there, but and I saw that coming. If he missed that eagle putt, it was either going to go in or 5 feet by. It was just bad luck for him, but he'll be up in contention, I think, at the British. Your pick, Fowler, I think he's going to definitely be up there. He's another one that's, it's just a matter of time before he wins a major. So those guys are, of course, the traditional ones up there. Bubba Watson, and Sergio, he's going to be up there too. He always is, and we'll kind of see what he brings to the table for the weekend. But those are the guys I think are going to be running the leaderboard on the weekend, and I hope that's the case because that's just it's better for golf. It's more exciting, and that's what we need.
Right. Okay. We can transition a little bit to something I'm more familiar with. NFL got back in the news with a little bit of some misfortune for a few guys. I don't know if you saw earlier, but Donovan McNabb was arrested for a DUI, I believe, out in Arizona. Did you see that?
You know, I didn't see that, actually. I believe, though, I did see another NFL player got hurt with fireworks, too.
Right. So since you didn't see Donovan, we can skip by that and jump into the second and third parts. So it was two players. Actually, it was one, and I know I've told you before, I'm a Redskins fan and follow the NFC East kind of closely. So an important player in that division, the Giants, Jason Pierre-Paul, JPP,
Mm-hmm.
he actually, I believe, lost, I think, 2 fingers. I think it's being reported now that he's lost. It might be 1, but he's lost some fingers, and also kind of a lesser relevant player down for the Tampa Bay Bucks, C.J. Wilson, which I thought they were talking about the pitcher when I first saw it come across got an update, which would have been serious for him. But both of these guys,
yeah.
right. But both of these guys apparently lost some fingers messing around with fireworks, and I'm just dumbfounded that I just I can't imagine how that happens to a pro athlete.
You know, it's I guess it's if it happens to, Joe Blow, no one cares. So I guess it comes into that line of, balancing your family or social life with being a professional athlete and realizing that, there are probably some things that can jeopardize your professional career, which, jeopardizes your financial stability and your family that you should probably stay away from. Now, are these two guys the only guys that lit off fireworks in professional sports? No, but unfortunately, they were the ones that this happened to. I think, you can't. I guess you can't tell them they can't do it, but I think there needs to be some communication, and obviously I'm not around behind the scenes to hear what is discussed in these contracts, but I think there needs to be a clear understanding of what's going to happen if it's a football-related injury to a more outside of football-related injury. Because I know with the Giants, there's a lot of discussion about the contract and do they have to honor it, or do they have to pay him, or do they not? Which makes it seem to me that things weren't really clear up front if something like this happened in terms of football-related to non-football-related. But, I mean, his position being the one that he is in, linebacker, if I'm not mistaken, is he middle linebacker, or is he?
He's either outside or defensive end.
Okay.
He comes off the edge.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, to me, it's obviously, it's a limb loss, but I think he'll be okay.
He actually had his right. He actually had his right index finger amputated.
Okay. Now, because earlier I was watching and I was hearing that he was kind of staying away from the Giants, I guess as much as possible until I guess he didn't want to reveal too much to him too quickly, and I think that was all based off of the contract negotiations. But personally, I think as a pro athlete, you should be a little smarter, I guess, about it, and try to stay away from as many of the things as possible that can jeopardize your career. And that includes things like, Donovan McNabb's situation, or, any of the other guys that do things that put them in the spotlight in a negative way. You really have to think at a different level as a professional athlete than anyone else who isn't playing in professional sports, or who isn't in that spotlight like they are, because everything they do is breaking news. So going forward, I think all the athletes need to just think about what they're going to be doing, their actions, before they actually go through with them.
Right. Between the two of them, I thought some of the early stories were that Pierre-Paul had a like a U-Haul size stockpile